nobody knows you and no one else is speaking of you or your experience or your contribution. And it only stays inside your company. Nobody knows you exist at whatever expertise or experience that you have outside of your company. And the person with less experience of doing what you do just had landed a board advisory role or partnership. Because this is the truth in 2026, it's because they have leverage, but they have a... You've been in rooms that most people will never get into, and that's a fact, and you know it's true. You saw problems that would have broken teams, individuals, high-level people, but with lesser experience, lesser strategies, like you are that person. Now, you have a track record of executing, going the extra mile. That's the issue, though. It speaks for itself, and no one else is speaking of you or your experience or your contribution. And it only stays inside your company. But outside the building, nobody knows you. And that's tough. That's hard. And I know it might sound harsh, but that's the reality. Nobody knows you exist at whatever expertise or experience that you have outside of your company. And the person with less experience, with less skills or experience in the trenches of doing what you do just had landed a board advisory role or a consulting opportunity or partnership, right? Because this is the truth in 2026. It's because they have leverage, but they have a podcast. That's right. They have a podcast. And that's not a coincidence. That's strategy. That's a distribution problem, right? That you have right now. Because like I said, everything I just mentioned, everybody knows about you and they respect you like you are like her or him, but nobody knows about you. And the easiest way to fix that is having a podcast. If you're new to this channel, I appreciate it. You know, I'm really speaking to my people. Make sure you let me know if this really resonated with you. But I want to talk about the gap nobody talks about, right? And that's just the visibility, you know, because there are two kinds of professional reputations that we're going to address right here. That's internal, right? What I've been talking about, and external. And most corporate leaders, you know, once they get in a system environment, you know, they rise up the ranks, they build their influence, and they don't think about outside. But that's the issue. You probably spend decades building only one of them, right? Which is most likely is going to be internally. And that internal reputation has gotten you to the president's award or recognition. It means your manager knows your value. Your team knows your value. They could depend on you. You're reliable. You're a high performer, high achiever in that role. So you probably skip levels, right? People know your name. They know, like, they recognize it. Like you're a producer, like you're coming with it. So here's the thing though. Your team, they would follow you anywhere, right? Inside that organization because they know you and trust you and could depend on you. Now, we're going to talk about external, right? Reputation. So that means that does the market know you exist outside of your company, right? And LinkedIn is a real authority platform. I think it's the most slept on platform for growing influence, not just like your resume. It's not just something you post inspirational here and there. You can really be strategic with LinkedIn. So when your name comes up, people associate that brand or whatever you're known for to help with XYZ. They say, hey, Jason Britton, okay, cool. That's the podcast guy. Like he helps corporate leaders like take their expertise and leverage it for 6 figures plus consulting companies, coaching companies, right? So the gap between those two reputations is where consulting and other opportunities die, right? Advisory conversations like never like start because you haven't put it out there and you waited to the last minute to try to do it when you were trying to transition or retire or at the end of, you know, your situation. The concept of what I'm talking about today, we have to be strategic and plan ahead. Here's an analogy I want you to sit with. Think about the best restaurant in your city. I mean, it's the best 5-star Michelin, highly rated. The food is impeccable. The customer service is on point. But here's the thing, nobody knows about it. The food is exceptional. Like I said, they have a chef, went to Cordon Bleu or whatever, trained for 20 years. It is the best restaurant in your city. It's spotless. It's clean. Like there's no complaints, but it's on a side street. right? It's on the side street. There's no through traffic. There's no sign saying, hey, we're open. Like no advertisement, no ads. Like it's only people that go that know, right? So they're gonna rock with it. And sometimes they'll try to keep it a secret because they don't want it to become saturated and for the quality service to fall off. So meanwhile, the mediocre like chain restaurant is on the main street with advertisement. Everybody know that they're open. They know their specials. Customer service is subpar, but it's cool, right? They have a 2-hour, wait. That's the invisible, experts gap. That's what we have to fix, and a podcast can do that. That's a problem, right? That's the problem. And I'm here. I got you. I'm your boy. So it's not because you're not talented enough. Clearly, you've been in your industry. You're a leader. You excelled. High achiever. They know you. They praise you. It's just a visibility gap. Now, here's where, you can leverage your expertise, especially for introverts. This is the hack. I would say that I'm extrovert presenting, but I'm really an introvert. I'm more introverted. So I can identify with you. I understand. But this is a cheat code. Now, here's where, introverted leaders specifically, you're exceptional at your craft. You know it. And I'm not going to just praise myself, but I've gotten a promotion in less than 3 promotions, less than a year and a half in my current company. We pride ourselves you execute, you come, you're high performer, you come in early, you do the hard stuff to get the results you do. So, but here's the thing though, when it comes to performance, the traditional networking, it's draining. I don't like it. You don't like it. You tried to the conference circuit, you went to the speaking. It's just not you, right? Your social battery gets drained, right? You done the LinkedIn connection request. It's like, oh, what did this person want? Like, okay, what do you want? It feels like hollow. There's no depth. It's like broadcasting without building. But here's the good news though. The good news is you don't need to perform more. You just need to be strategic on how you distribute your valuable content. So we need to think smarter. And those are completely two different things. Like when you have to constantly post and do all that stuff and you're just throwing stuff at the wall versus having a strategic authority building platform that's going to send you the type of leads and connections and opportunities you want or, to build out your community, right? Those are two different things.
I want to take a pause for a second and talk about your confidence, right? You got the experience, the results, the credibility, but when it comes to putting your voice out there, fear creeps in. Who am I to do this? Does that sound familiar? That's imposter syndrome, and it's keeping you small. My coaching is about breaking through that, helping you turn your expertise into content, conversation, and coaching that builds real influence in your industry. So if you're done hiding behind titles and ready to lead with your story, head over to connectingwithcreatives.com/coaching and let's get started. I'll see you soon.
So if you're interested in coaching and want to learn more how to leverage your expertise on your terms with your flexibility, your way, reach out to me ASAP. Let's hop on a call, see if we're a good fit. And I'm pretty sure I can help you, get to where you're going. All right. So your expertise alone is not going to compound. You have to do different things that's going to set you apart over time. And you have to be consistent. This is the part nobody really talks about directly. So I'm going to just make it plainly. Your expertise is stored inside a job title, right? That's just what you do. That's not who you are, right? So again, let me say that your expertise is stored inside a job title, but it's not a portable asset. You can't take your job title with you in different spaces and it means something. It's just not going to hold the same weight. But if you leverage your expertise as the who of a specific industry or niche, you can leverage that into opportunities one after another. I've seen it. I'm helping my clients do the same thing. So the moment that the title changes, most of the market value probably leaves, right? So that's scary, right? That's scary, right? You don't want to be that high school player that peaked in high school, right? You did that in high school. What about now? What are you doing now? What are you a pro at? We don't have proof. So you want to think about compounding. We're playing a long game here. We're playing chess. So what you're doing now, we got to think ahead. So compounding works when expertise is attached to a platform. So I'm saying, I have my podcast that I rock with, that I go to listen to because I know I'm going to get a certain value from this expert in business, sales, marketing. I know I'm going to get that every time. And I take that value, I extract that value and apply it to my life, my business, my goals, and I'm seeing results, right? I even invested in a coaching program to where I have invested heavily into it and I'm getting results of being attached or proximity to those individuals that are thinking at a high level and achieving at a high level. You know, a podcast episode definitely helps over time. When you do it consistently, helps generate opportunities. All right, let's do some math. Here's some math. So if you record episode every week, 52 episodes, and it's specifically talking about your strategies, insights, solo episodes, you can have guests on with various expertise or experience and bringing value to the platform. That's powerful. So each one is a potential conversation starter. So I get hit up all the time. Hey, I like your episode talking about leadership, yada, yada. I get them every day, frequently. So each one is a credential that the market can find you without being in the room. That's the thing. Like I get hit up. I don't hit up these people. The people that I want on the podcast, the people that I want to like extract value from, I actually invite them. But I get a more inbound than I do reaching out. And that's not content creation. That's infrastructure. It's the difference between showing up to every meeting and having a system that shows up for you. That's what the distribution is. And I know it will show up for you too, right? Like I know it will show up for you. In this last section I want to talk about, it's a trap. So before I tell you, what works, I just told you, I know you tried like solutions and it didn't work out. And, you probably worked with coaches before. It just wasn't a good fit, but they just didn't understand you. Right. You probably were, for whatever reason, personalities, and maybe they didn't deliver what they were going to deliver. So, yeah. So I don't even want to go there, but I'm just saying that, if you have experience, if you want something that is compound over time that you can build on and that this is real business, this is the game, right? Just constant visibility is where it's at, but you definitely need to process that it doesn't drain you, right? You don't want surface level connections. You want deep connections that convert, so strategic visibility is a different game. It means fewer touch points that carry more weight, right? So one well-positioned podcast can definitely get you the opportunities or open the opportunities for you to, to get the opportunities you want, you desire. So think about the last time you tried to build visibility the traditional way, the conference, the networking events, the cold connection strategy. Honestly, like it's trash. Like it takes energy. It doesn't feel authentic, right? Does it? No, it doesn't. So if the ratio doesn't work, the method doesn't work. The problem was never your commitment. It was the strategy. So hopefully this episode was really impactful for you. But I want to leave you with one last thing. A podcast works for you while you sleep. It's like one of the automations and how you could be discovered. So someone in England, in the UK, Spain, they could find you, right? And you can start building leverage globally because you never know what opportunity will come to you just by putting your frameworks, your insights, and your value out there. So if you thought this was helpful, make sure you tap in, right? The visible expert problem doesn't always have to move forward, doesn't always have to continue. This is a solution. It's not that you're just invisible, but the solution is distribution. You have a distribution problem. That distribution is a system, right? It's not personality trait. And you high level people, you understand systems work. So tap in. Let me know if this is impactful. I know I ranted a lot, but yeah, I want to see what you guys think. I'll see you guys on the next one.